where the headquarters still are.
Yep.
And your campus is there.
You don't ever loot, don't move your loot. Your headquarters there. Yeah, you found it there, loot there.
You grew up in the 60s.
64.
Born in 64. That was the time of the Cultural Revolution.
Yeah, it was the end of the Cultural Revolution. It was, well, my grandfather was a tiny landlord, was considered, after liberation, was considered to be a bad guy. So I was, I know how tough it was when I was a kid.
You tried to get into 3 colleges. Mm-hmm. Each time they rejected you.
No, I tried. There's examination that young people, if you want to go to university, you have to take the examinations. So I failed 3 times.
Right.
But a lot of fail. I failed for funny things that I failed a key primary school test for 2 times. And I failed 3 times for the middle schools. And you will never believe in Hangzhou, my city, there's only 1 middle school that lasts only 1 year. It was changed from primary school to middle school because our graduates of our school, no middle school accept us because we were too bad. Yeah. They would become a middle school.
What effect did it have, though, being rejected?
Well, I think we have to get used to it. We're not that good. Even today, we still have a lot of people reject us. I think when I graduated from universities, and before I, for 3 years I tried to fill in the universities. So I applied jobs for 30 times, got rejected. I went for a police, they said, no, you're not good. I went to even the KFC. When KFC came to China, come to my city, 24 people went for the job. 23 people were accepted. I was the only one guy. And we went for police. 5 people, 4 of them accepted. I was the only guy that I received it. So to me, being turned down, rejected. Oh, by the way, I told you that I applied for Harvard for 10 times, rejected. I know I'll be rejected. I just don't want to say that.
That's sorry now. 10 times you wrote them and said, I'd like to come to Harvard.
Yeah. And then I told myself, someday I should go teach there, baby.
I think that can be arranged. Richard Nixon came to Hangzhou.
Yeah.
And after that, tourists flooded the place.
Yeah.
And that's how you learned English.
Yeah. I really like I don't know why, at 12, 13 years old, that time I suddenly fell in love into the language, the English. And there's no place you can learn English at that time. There's no books, English books. So I went to the Hangzhou Hotel, now called Hangzhou Shangri-La Hotel, because that was the hotel can receive the foreign visitors. So every morning for 9 years, I showed them around as a free guide, and they taught me English. And I think that changed me. Today, I'm 100% made in China. I've never got a one-day train outside China.
Yeah.
And when people talk to me, say, Jack, how can you speak English like that? Why sometimes you talk like an Western guys? I think that was the 9 years. These Western tourists opened my mind because everything they told me are so different from the things I learned from the schools and from my parents. So now I have a habit. Whatever I see, whatever I read, I use my mind. Think about for 2 minutes.
Is that how Ma Jun became Jack Ma?
Actually, Jack, the name was given by a lady in tennis. She's a tourist. She came here and she said, came to Hangzhou. We become a pen friends. Ma Ring is so difficult to pronounce. So she said, do you have an English name? I said, don't. So can you give me an English name? She said, okay. She said, my father called her Jack. My husband called Jack. What do you think about Jack? I said, good. So I've been using that for that many years.
Yeah. First visit to America, 1995?
1995, yeah. I come here for a project helping the local government to building up a highway.
And you tried the internet.
I tried the internet in Seattle, and in a building called the U.S. Bank. I don't know whether the U.S. Bank is still there or not, but it's a building. And my friend opened a small office, which is like only 10% bigger than this room. And there are a lot of computers in there. And he said, Jack, this is internet. I asked, what is internet? He said, search whatever you want. At that time, they used Mosaic, very slow, right? Yeah. And I said, I don't use it. I don't want to type because computer is so expensive in China. If I destroy it, yes, I cannot pay. He said, just to search it. So I searched the first word, beer. I don't know why, because it's easy to spell, baby. And I see beers from Germany, beers from USA, beers from Japan, but there's no beer from China. And I say, okay, type the second word is China. No data. Nothing. And I said, 1995, no data about China. So I talked to my friend, why not make something about China? So we made a small, very ugly looking page called China. It's something like I did a translation agency, we listed on there. It was so shocking. We launched at 9:40 in the morning. 12:30, I got a phone call from my friend. He said, Jack, you got 5 emails. I said, what is email? And they say, these are the things. So people so excited. Where are you? This is the first time I see a Chinese website on that. How can we can we do something together? So I think this is something interesting. So we should do it.
Why did you call it Alibaba?
Alibaba? Well, when I started, I think internet is global. We should have a global name. And a name that, interesting, like at that time, the best name is Yahoo. Right? So I've been thinking for many days, suddenly thinking Alibaba is a good name. So I happened to be in San Francisco that day. I did have a lunch, and the waitress came. I asked her, do you know about Alibaba? She said, yes. I said, what is Alibaba? She said, Open Sesame. Good. So I went on the street, asked about 10, 20 people. They all know about Alibaba, 40 Thieves, and Open Sesame. And I think this is a good name. And start with A. Whatever you talk about, Alibaba is always top.
You have said before that in creating Alibaba, you had to create trust.
Yep.
Because people in China were used to face-to-face.
Yeah.
How did you create trust?
I think